Earlier this week, I asked all non-essential businesses to close. Before we can save livelihoods, we must save lives. And so I will be working with local officials, permitting authorities, and others to enforce mandatory closures.
I had been working at a factory job and kind of just in a rut.
Screen printing and glass. I worked there for 15 years.
I was in Greenville, South Carolina. I was working as a granite fabricator / polisher. COVID was extremely shattering for my family and I. They actually decided to close the particular branch that I was working at.
When COVID hit, they were worried about just having the work. We got laid off for a while, and then it got to the point that they let us go.
Something like a global pandemic might help dig that rut a little deeper, and so you're not so scared about what happens next, but you're scared about what you can do next.
When the Commonwealth shut down last March, over 1 million Pennsylvania residents were out of work. Some waited to see if they could get their job back. Others took whatever job they could get. But a select few decided to go back to school to start their path toward a career in a new industry. And in the last 12 months, even with classrooms adjusting for COVID, Erie's 3 technical schools have seen increased enrollment every academic quarter.
As many people are truly suffering through this time, school has been a key ingredient for a lot of people to get back on track with either new career opportunities and learning. So we've experienced increased enrollments in all of our programs.
We've never gone through something like COVID before. And I think that the reality to a lot of people was that they could kind of bounce around from job to job. The reality is now they can't. Those temp jobs or those jobs that they were used to kind of bouncing around are either no longer there or they're limited. They really need to get trained. They need training in a particular career, and they need that education.
The trend really has moved more in the direction of allied health. So we really are starting to see more people interested in going back to hospitals because that's where the jobs are. And in Erie, that's a big employer. And it was a shift away from high school. This past summer, it was more of an adult learner.
Tammy Snyder was one of those adult learners who enrolled at Great Lakes last August. After she was laid off, she decided to look back to her childhood to guide her to a better future as a medical assistant.
My mom was handicapped, so I did a lot for her and took care of kids and everything, so it was part of my nature. When I leave here, I will be able to help somebody, maybe go to the hospital or go to a medical office. My goal is to try to make things safe again.
After graduation, all 3 of Erie's tech schools place students in jobs about 80 to 90% of the time, which means when the pandemic comes to an end, many students will already be in their new industry.
The demand for people in the veterinary field is just as high as it would be for human medicine. They need technicians who can come in right away knowing what we're doing. They have had the experience, and that's what this place gets you. As soon as I graduate, I'd like to get into a hospital and save animals. I love the awesome power that animals have and that we are there to help them.
I will get myself into a position where my ability to bring in income is no longer dependent on someone else. If this ever happens again, I can just go out and wire someone's house or install an AC unit, and it's no longer dependent on a company having work.
Our programs, I don't want to say are recession-proof or COVID-proof, but when you're training students to do jobs as electricians or HVAC techs or welders or machinists, those jobs don't go away. Our enrollment's absolutely fantastic right now, and we're confident that's going to continue. Not just short-term, but that's long-term as well.
Spencer Lee, YourErie.com.